You're still watching News Cafe on the Solar News Channel, and we're talking to attorney Loida Nicolas. So let's talk more about your career in the U.S. You spent 10 years, no, as the general attorney in the U.S. Immigration and Naturalization Service, long name, which is now the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services. How was that like?
Well, you know, they didn't accept me at the beginning when I applied. So I sued them for discrimination.
Which you won. You won this case.
Yes, I won it. After 3 years, so they gave me 3 years back pay, you know, 3 months sick leave and all that. So how was that? I saw to it that I was a very good immigration lawyer. But at the same time, having been a foreigner myself, being very, very understanding of the plight of the illegal aliens that come before me. So I was fair, but I was also merciful. If you can have justice and mercy at the same time.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed that very much.
And this is what basically gave you the fuel to write your book.
Well, when my husband bought Beatrice International, and since the business is in Europe, we moved to Paris. Well, between INS and Paris, that's no-brainer.
Yeah.
But when I was in Paris, you know, you can only study French and go shopping. So I decided I have so much knowledge about immigration that I would write a book.
Yeah.
So my husband said, all right, rent a room so that I would be very focused on writing the book. And I did write the book, which is, the first book is how a Filipino veteran of World War II can become a U.S. citizen. Because in the 1990s, the Supreme Court held, or actually the U.S. Congress passed a law that if you are a Filipino veteran of World War II, during the time, they took away the naturalization officer in the Philippines. And so that was a big, big injustice. So now in 1990, you can become an American citizen if you can prove that you are a U.S. Veteran of World War II.
Yes. And after that, how to get a green card.
And then after that, how to get a green card.
And this is an issue that many Filipinos were really dealing with at the time.
Well, not only any illegal alien TNT. And it's still being published up to now. I know it's being, so my copyright percentage is reduced. But
now
it still
the 8th
has my
edition,
name.
right? That's
yes,
so successful.
It's now on its 8th edition, yes.
Yeah. Well, you started many organizations, including the National Federation of Filipino-American Associations, the Asian American Legal Defense and Educational Fund, and the U.S. Pinoys for Good Governance. And of course, there's the Reginald Lewis Foundations. So you are a big leader in the Philam community. What would you say are the top concerns of our Filipinos abroad?
Well, for now, as U.S. Pinoys for Good Governance, it is what they call TPS, Temporary Protective Status, simply because it's granted by the United States immigration law that if your country is hit by natural disaster that's so massive that the entire country can be dislocated, or if your country is under civil war, U.S. government can say, all right, any national from that country who are illegal can stay temporarily in the United States. So it's called TPS, Temporary Protective Status. And since the monster Yolanda, the Typhoon Haiyan, hit the Visayas, you know, there has been a clamor among Filipino Americans, even among the National Catholic Conference League, from the Latino organization, to declare Filipino nationals in the United States, you know, TPS status, meaning to say no deportation, you are given work authorization.
Yeah.
So that's the burning issue. And I was so disappointed when President Obama, who just visited, did not declare TPS. And thinking it over, I think it was politically correct because he's just signed the, you know, advanced defense agreement.
The enforced defense, yes.
Yes, with President Noynoy. And so para bang napakasagwa, quid pro quo, because you signed this, I'll give your national in the U.S. to TPS, or, you know, work authorization.
Right.
So he didn't do it.
Yeah.
But I hope they will do it, you know, in the months to come.
So you'll be lobbying for that still.
We are still lobbying.
Yes. Well, since you brought it up, what are your thoughts on the EDCA, the enforced defense?
I am so glad that they did it. Why? Because in the past 3 years, China has been looming large like a big bully, saying, you know, this is ours. 200 nautical miles from our shore has always been ours since 1992, when the United Nations Convention of Law of the Sea declared that 200 nautical miles from your shore belongs to you, and you can exploit whatever minerals are there. Of course, there are places where there are several countries, but Palawan, you know, between Palawan and China are deposits of 100 billion barrels of oil.
Of natural, yes.
And trillion cubic feet of natural gas. So there's nobody else except China and the Philippines. China is 500 nautical miles. In 200 nautical, sa atin talaga yun. So China has been very aggressive in saying, amin yan. First, Mischief Island. Okay? First, they said, no, we will just put a little house for our fishermen. Now, there is a 4-story garrison. So, nawala na sa atin yun. A year ago, I think it's Scarborough Shoal. These are nothing but rocks.
Right.
And during high tide, nawawala. But it contains, you know, endangered species.
A lot of natural resources.
Also natural resources, oil. So now, a year ago, they said, you cannot come here. And so our Philippine patrol, you know, no, you cannot. So para bang, you know, face to face.
Right.
But then a typhoon was coming. And our you know, Department of Foreign Affairs, Albert de Rosario, all right, because the typhoon is coming, let's both withdraw. And China said yes, and we withdrew. But China did not. And they said, no, we never promised. Nako, bulaan.
Bullying tactics.
Bulaan, no, it was terrible. And the last one was last month, when in Ayungin Reef, where we have our old ship, Sierra Madre, that was purposely grounded there, gunships were patrolling so that we cannot bring our food, water, and exchange of marines, you know. So ito na naman, you know, almost a confrontation. Pero ang galing ng Filipino, na wala, you know, we went some other way, and so we were able to reach them and bring out, you know, exchange. So these are actions that are really very aggressive.
Yeah.
So when the United States and the Philippines signed this defense agreement, it's a sign to China, without ka, we have a big brother behind us. You know, don't play foolish with us.
Well,
so I'm very glad it happened.
What do you think about critics saying that the agreement still has a lot of work to be done on it and it may antagonize China even more?
Oh my God. Nobody can antagonize China as it is now. So with this one, anong gagawin ng China? Oy, puputukan ko kayo. You have to be worried because we have a mutual defense treaty with United States. So they will have to think twice.
Right.
And all of this critic, all our sovereignty, sovereignty my foot. Ito na nga ang China, kinukuha ng oil natin. This agreement is impinging on our sovereignty. So they have to, yung mga nagsasabi nun is, I think has divided loyalties.
Right. Well, you've been lobbying for this, for China, for this aggressiveness against China for a very long time now. In the U.S., in the different consulates, many years ago, you were raising awareness on the issue and trying to get people to lobby it or demonstrate.
Yes, actually, we were the first one who demonstrated because a member of our U.S. Pinoys for Good Governance said that an oil rig has been created and it was declared that it's going to go to the West China Sea.
That's when it started.
That's where it started. So we started the lobby, and when the Commission of Philippine Overseas created this diaspora, I mean, we created it, but it's true there, diaspora of Filipinos all over the world, so our rally became worldwide, okay, against every Chinese embassy. So I think that has some effect because they still, you know, they're trying, but you know, they know that there's a very vocal voice in the United States against them.
Right.
In fact, when we declared that, you know, one way to fight China is to boycott China goods, suddenly there was a television program in China that says, enemy number one, Loida, Nicolas, Lewis.
Really?
Yes.
Wow. So you're on their wanted list, huh?
Sort of. So I don't visit anymore.
Very interesting. Well, now other issues that you've been working on also, you have Medicare portability. Tell us about this.
The groups of Filipinos who came starting with the Immigration Act of 1965 are now aging. They are reaching retirement age. And the main reason why not many of them come back here is that by 65, we have full Medicare, I mean, health benefits. Whatever expenses you have, hospital, you know, heart is disease and all that, is paid by the U.S. government. But it's not portable, meaning to say it's only within the United States. So we are lobbying very hard to allow us to use our Medicare here. And can you imagine if 200,000, you know, we're 4 million in the United States, if 200,000 come and live here, that is equivalent to a saving of $1 billion from United States, because our medical expenses are at least 70% cheaper. Okay, so let's say 50%. So it's a big savings for the United States. And for us, we're back in our home country.
Right, so for our retirees coming back here, that's very comforting.
Yes. Anong tanim how sweet is it to live in our home country?
Yeah.
That is the song of Maria Clara in the opera Noli Me Tangere.
Which you are working on now, since I was going to ask you about that, but you did this production in New York.
Yes, it was very successful. For 3 days, sold out, and the New York Times reviewed us.
Excellent.
It's mixed review, but they reviewed us, so we were recognized.
And after 27 years, huh, that...
Here in the United States, here in the Philippines, it was shown in 1987. 100 years anniversary of Noli Me Tangere, when it was published in 1887 in Germany. So it was shown in CCP, Cultural Center of the Philippines.
Yes.
So after 27 years, a group of us, Jerry Sibal, Edwin, Joshua, and myself, are crazy enough to say, let's bring it to the Philippines, because it is so expensive. For the first time, it will have 35-piece orchestra, opera singers, you know, and it will be done at Resort World from September 12 to September 29 of this year. And so I've been lobbying and asking, you know, the corporations and foundations to come and support it.
That's excellent. You're a patron of the arts also. What do you think of the current time, well, today, you know, where everybody's so in touch with technology, so classic media like this, orchestra, plays, maybe the young are not so in touch with that. How do you feel about the new social media and how...
No, it's great. This is the technological revolution of the 21st century. Just like from 1800s to 1900s, you know, you used to wash clothes, there's washing machine. You know, you used to roll banca, there's a steam engine. So industrial revolution during that time. At the turn of this century, it's the technological revolution. This is the age. Even my 2-year-old, you know, wants to Pandora to listen to the music. So it's very, very good. Okay? Unfortunately, the young people have to remember that there is history also behind this technological history. So they should not be just the modern age. They should also look back, because if you don't know, ano ba yun? Kung hindi mo marunong, if you don't know how to look back, you don't know how to proceed.
That's true.
Okay, so culture, history, our national hero, Noli Me Tangere, it should be something also within their subconscious or within their conscious mind.
Yes.
So that they know whence they came from, and so they can move forward, you know, with knowledge and with confidence.
You must understand your past to understand the future and the present, right?
Yes.
Well, you're very passionate about education. You started the Lewis College in Sorsogon. What is that like? How is it now? How has it evolved? Or how do you plan to
well, the beginning of that was really like a mistake, because when my family, you know, my Pastor Francis, my youngest brother, my sister-in-law, Melly, Nicolas, Loida, there's a school for sale. Oh, good. Yes, let's buy it. And when I did my due diligence, the school was not for sale. The real estate was for sale. It was foreclosed by the bank. So we're buying it from the bank, not the school, but the land. So I said, no, atras tayo. We are not educators. We, you know, we had a furniture business, Nickfer, my parents' business, but not school. And so, well, here comes. No, Loida, alam na sa probinsya, nakakahiya, we will lose face. So we started from zero.
Wow.
And instead of starting 1 and 2, grade 3 and 4, we started all at once. Kindergarten, grade 1, first year high school, first year college. But thank God, with good management, especially since my nephew, the son of my pastor, Francis, is here from the United States taking care of it. It's grown from 700 to now 1,400.
Excellent. And now you have a new nursing program even.
And also because you know, nursing is always wanted, but not a nursing degree. It's only for 6 months.
Oh, okay.
And in fact, we have nursing the 6 months. We have some in London, in Singapore, in New Zealand, in Canada, and some in the United States.
Yes. Well, you yourself are pursuing further education. Your husband and 2 children went to Harvard. So you also said that you want to do some courses in Harvard.
Well, what happened is that my husband is Harvard. My daughter is Harvard. She married somebody from Harvard.
Everybody's from Harvard.
And so when my younger daughter was applying to Harvard, I wanted to know, was she accepted? So I called our contact at Harvard Law School, Dean Scott Nichols. And so he called me the next day and said, well, Loida, you're the only one who will have no Harvard degree. That means to say my daughter was accepted.
Wow, yeah.
So sabi ko, naku, nga, ano.
Out of place.
So, sabi ako lang. So, I will not go to school for a degree, but I will get a certificate. So I joined Harvard Business School Owner-President Management course, and I do have a certificate from Harvard.
So great, congratulations. Now part of the family. You also recently became part of the Migration Policy Institute. What exactly are you doing?
This is an organization for the past 10 years that studied the movement of people and what policy should be adopted by governments. And since, you know, my sister, Imelda Nicolas, is in the Diaspora Commission of Filipino Overseas, she thought that I should be member of this because it sets policies on how do you get the movement of people more efficient, because you cannot help it. People are free to move around.
Yes.
But how can you encourage the movement of one group of professionals into another country that's needed by that country? You know, something like that.
Right. How do you feel about the Filipino diaspora? I mean, one of our biggest exports, of course, are OFWs. What is it that Filipinos really need to be aware of when they're living around the world and, you know, coming back to their countries? There's a lot of exchange of culture ideas. What should we really, I guess, what part of our Filipino culture should we be holding up there? Or
Okay. Well, first of all, I'm sure that they will not go out unless that's the only way for them to lift up their economic status, except for those who fall in love, like me. So, what is my advice to them? You know, keep the good part of your being Filipino, and for me, that's your being spiritual, your belief that God loves you and will not let bad things happen to you if you follow His will. So, faith in God. Number 2, we are also hardworking. When we are abroad, oh my God, you know, we work 24/7. Well, we are very hardworking. And the third one, we have such heart. Okay, we consider the people we're serving like family.
Right.
Okay, meron tayong anong tawag doon? Malasakit. Okay.
Right.
So all of that, we have a very good reputation as workers abroad.
Good thought. Well, we have so much more to talk about. We just have to take a short break. News Cafe will be back after these messages. And now let's talk about your art collection.
This is a gift by my husband. This is an amor solo. But you know, he went to New York. He didn't go to Paris.
Yeah.
If he did, he would have been Cubist.
Yeah.
Because this was during the time of Picasso and Braque. Okay, so my husband, because Amor Solo went to New York, many Americans bought. And by the time in 1992, some of them wanted to dispose of it.
Yeah.
And my husband gave it to me on Mother's Day, actually.
Wow, beautiful.
1992. And this is I said, go to Sorsogon. I want you to paint something that
So you
like.
commissioned this?
They commissioned this one. So these are all, you know, his wife, his father, Jose Blanco's father, Jose Blanco's father. These are his children during the time. And I said, I want my father included. Okay, and that's my father.
Which one, the one
He
with
was
the hat?
25,
Or-
yes.
Wow!
When he was 25, I gave him a picture of my father when he was 25 years old.
Beautiful.
So this is the Sorsogon Bay.
That is really beautiful. So much meaning in your paintings.
Yes.
So it really brings you back home.